Hello, my dear friends and family. I'm Operator Starsky with new updates on Russia's ongoing illegal invasion of Ukraine. Over the week, Russian infrastructure and oil industry were receiving some serious karmic feedback. We had fresh deep strikes on Russian oil ports, oil refineries, an explosives plant, a chemical facility, and other military targets on the Russian soil. On the front, the situation remains difficult, especially in Donetsk and around Kupiansk, but the Russian invaders are still paying a very heavy price. At the same time, Ukrainian military tech keeps moving forward, especially in drones and interceptor systems, and that matters more and more every single week. My dear friends, this is the Frontline Focus. Let's roll. First, let's talk about the deep strikes, because Russia has been really enjoying those lately. On the night of March 22nd to 23rd, Ukrainian strikes hit the Primorsk oil terminal in Leningrad Oblast and also Bashneft refinery in Ufa. As I mentioned previously, Primorsk is Russia's main oil export hub on the Baltic Sea, handling around 60 million tons of oil annually. Then on the next big wave, Ukrainian strikes hit Ust-Luga on March 25th, and after that the Kirishi refinery on March 26th. Kirishi is one of Russia's biggest refineries, responsible for more than 6% of total refined oil output. The General Staff said key primary refining units at this refinery were damaged, and then, because apparently one lesson wasn't enough for Russian terrorists, fires were reported again in Ust-Luga and Primorsk, with attacks continuing for several nights in a row. Then came Yaroslavl on March 28th, where drones reportedly struck the Slavneft refinery, one of Russia's 5 largest, capable of processing over 15 million tons per year. Also on March 28th, Ukrainian General Staff said Flamingo missiles hit the Promsynthese explosives plant in Samara Oblast. That plant reportedly produces more than 30,000 metric tons of explosives a year for Russian bombs and missiles, making it a very direct hit on the Russian terrorists' ability to make more things that explode over Ukrainian cities. And just overnight into March 30th, Russian channels reported another strike in Samara Oblast, this time around the Kuybyshev Azot chemical plant in Tolyatti. That one is still a developing story, but it fits the same pattern, where Ukraine keeps reaching deep and hitting places that fuel the Russian war. And this morning there was more, my friends. Ukraine's General Staff said Ukrainian defenders struck the Alchevsk Iron and Steel Works, located in the occupied Luhansk Oblast, which is involved in production for large-caliber ammunition. Also, there was a confirmed hit on a high-value S-400 air defense launcher located near Gvardiyske in occupied Crimea. Also, a hit on a Russian military train near Novosvitlivka. So while the Kremlin keeps pretending everything is under control, the list of things being set on fire keeps getting longer. And since we mentioned expensive Russian losses, there are also some important ones outside the oil story. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces reported that on the night of March 28th to 29th, they destroyed 3 BM-30 Smerch or Tornado-S multiple launch rocket systems located in occupied Crimea, plus a transport-loaded vehicle and burned fuel tankers. On March 27th, the General Staff also reported a strike on Valdai, but unfortunately not Putin's palace, but Valdai radar station in Crimea, which means Ukrainian defenders are also working really closely on the Russian air defense and also rocket capabilities, which is exactly what needs to happen if you want to keep opening corridors for future strikes. And now switching to the front lines, the situation remains hard with the heaviest pressure concentrated still around the Pokrovsk area and Kostiantynivka directions, while the Russian invaders also keep probing near Kupiansk, where they failed dramatically recently, and trying to push in the direction of the northern part of the so-called fortress belt. Today, Ukrainian General Staff reported around 150 combat clashes with 31 Russian assaults on the Pokrovsk front and 26 attacks on the Konstantinivka front. At this point, the Russian invaders still have mass, they have meat, and a lot of willingness to waste both, but more and more often they run into Ukrainian drone kill zones, better coordination, and much faster punishment for their logistics and rear areas. Only over the last several days, Ukraine's general staff reported daily Russian losses of roughly 1,200 on March 26th, 1,000 on March 27th, 1,300 on March 28th, 1,300 on March 29th, and almost 900 on March 30th, with especially heavy losses in artillery vehicles and fuel transport. As we can see, the broader picture shows that Russia is still burning through men and equipment at a crazy rate, but because they have shortage in terms of armored vehicles and tanks, they also burn through their reserves of donkeys, horses, and cheap Chinese motorbikes. And now a few words on Ukrainian military tech, because this part is also very important. Ukraine keeps pushing interceptor drone development really hard. In March, Ukrainian companies presented systems like the Samara interceptor drone and the Zerov-8, with the latter reported as capable of speeds about 320 km per hour and using AI-based target detection. Another Ukrainian anti-Shahed system, the Strela, has also been upgraded and is already being supplied serially under state contracts. On top of that, German-backed production is now funding 15,000 Ukrainian interceptor drones for the National Guard of Ukraine through Quantum Systems. Rheinmetall already publicly praised Ukrainian innovation, obviously because at this point Ukraine has the biggest drone warfare experience in the world. So to sum it up, my friends, over the past week, Ukraine kept up pressure deep inside Russia and also occupied territory, hitting oil export infrastructure, refineries, explosives production, chemical facilities, rail logistics, radars, and terror Russian air defense launchers. On the front, the Russian terrorists continue their grinding assaults, but they still don't have the easy breakthrough they wanted. And behind all that, Ukrainian technology, especially drones, interceptor drones, and strike coordination techniques, keeps becoming one of the biggest reasons why the Russian terrorists are having such a wonderful spring. With that, my dear friends and family, I wish you all a beautiful day. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed about the most important updates and also share this content to help Ukraine be heard. I'll see you in the commentaries. I'm Operator Starsky. As always, be safe.
Subscribe to UATV English and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.